Hey, Julian and Cesc here, and today we're live from Reserve Solemia. And today we're going to be talking about something extremely controversial that is happening right now on the World Padel Tour.
All right, you're talking about the Premier Padel.
The Premier Padel. My mistake.
Okay, this is a big drama going on right now. There's a big boycott. What the heck's going on? How is that going to affect Miami, right? The tour in Miami. What's going on right now in Gijon? Who's playing there? All those things we're going to be talking about. But first, let's talk about why the players are having boycotting. What are the reasons? I think there's 2 or 3 main reasons. So let's talk about that. I think there's a draws issues in the qualifying. So why don't you talk about that?
So first of all, most important in the Gijon tournament is a P2 tournament. And the top 100 teams, they dropped out of the tournament. So they refused to play in that tournament. And they're saying they're doing exactly the same thing for the Mexico tournament, which is actually in Acapulco next week. Acapulco or Cancun?
I'm not sure.
I think it's in Cancun.
But it's just the men.
Yeah. It's only on the men's. And here's the main issue. The Premier Padel Tour has reduced the overall prize money for each tournament. And not only that, they also reduced the qualifying teams from 8 to 4. So this really hurts the lower ranked players.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying about that is now, before we used to have 8 teams qualifying for the main draw with everybody, all the lower ranked players have more options to qualify and start making, more money. Now they have only 4.
And the thing is, at the beginning, I mean, it's already tough for them to start with because they're already playing so many games, and then once they get qualified, they got to play the top 20 players, which is very, very, very difficult. Plus they don't have a lot of sponsors like the top 20 players. So they're already having difficulty paying for, for them going internationally and all over the world for these games. So this is really harsh on those players.
Yeah. So what really happened is this: they reduce the prize money, they reduce the amount of lower ranked players to qualify into the main round. So now traveling, remember that in a few years back, all the main tournaments, they were pretty much in Spain. So within 2-3 hours drive, you were able to play all the major tournaments as a low-ranked player.
Right.
Now, just for example, now they're playing in Gijon. The tournament before was in Saudi Arabia.
Right.
The next tournament is in Mexico, so they got to fly from Spain to Mexico, and the tournament after that it's here in Miami. So those tickets and those expenses for lower-ranked players, which they don't make as much as the top players. Right. It's tremendous. It's huge.
They're barely making it.
Yes.
A lot of times they got to put money out of their own pockets. Also, the top 20 players, they have, the coaches, they have, physical therapists, other therapists. They have a group going with them. I mean, these guys are just by themselves.
Yes. As Bella said on the interview that we did with him, the top 30 couples, they make an average between sponsorship and prize money about maybe close to $500,000. Those 30 couples, yeah, they can travel all over the place without a problem. Now, if you're 40, 50, 60, 100, 120, now you're making just a few $1,000s.
Yeah.
And then for you to travel from Spain to Mexico, you're talking about $2,000, $3,000. And now, if you want to bring your team,
if you lose in the first round.
Yeah, and if you lose in the first round.
Which is a good possibility because you're playing these top 20 players. And they're fresh, they haven't even played yet.
So the boycott happened, all the top 100 couples, in solidarity to the lower ranked players. Pretty much they boycott that because of the changes of the Premier Padel Tour, reducing the prize money and the qualifying. So it's getting very, very interesting.
Right.
The Premier Padel Tour is threatened to sue the Players Association.
They're just lawyer up.
Yeah.
They're not budging right now.
Yeah.
I guess they're waiting to see because there's a P2, which was the Gijon right now going on, and Mexico's P2, but Miami's P1.
Yeah.
So they have to go to the
By
P1s.
contract, they're obligated because all players, they have to sign a contract with the Premier Padel Tour like they do for any other professional sport. So you're obligated to play all the, if you're high ranking, you're obligated to play all the P1 level tournaments. Miami it's P1. Gijon and Mexico, they're P2. So that's why they're boycotting that. But interesting, it's coming in a couple of weeks here in Miami. Hopefully, cross our fingers.
Yeah, they should have resolved it by then.
They should resolve it by then, yeah.
But either way, they're obligated to go to the P1.
Yeah.
Now, how does this affect Gijon and Mexico financially?
Well, one thing. Let me. If I own the tournament, because you private entity company, you buy the rights of the tournament. So let's say I own the tournament. I purchased the tournament. So now I got to get out there and sell the tournament, right? So I'm selling the tournament, saying to all the sponsors that you're going to have the Coelhos, the Tapias, the Lidenos, the Paquitos, all playing in the tournament.
People show up for them.
Exactly. So now your price tag for sponsorship is much higher. Now suddenly everybody drops out. You ended up looking horrible in front of the sponsors.
Nobody's going there, you can't make money. The people bought boxes, or like, what's going on?
Exactly.
You know, the vendors there, everything gets affected there. And who's playing now? So, you know, the lower ranked 100 players are playing right now. I mean, the women's are playing there.
Yeah.
Like the women, you know, but the men aren't. And you got Tolito who's playing.
Well, so, Tolito's playing because he just moved from A1 to Premier, so his rank it's really low.
Right.
So
he's gonna get a lot of visibility there.
He's gonna get a lot of visibility.
He might win it. He might
oh
win
my
it.
God! Well, he's playing with Alfonso Mendes. That's a super couple.
So maybe also with Mexico too.
Yeah.
So this is great for him.
To increase the ranking.
I think that's gonna help a little bit because people go there to watch him, of course. So I mean, but I'm sure there's gonna be a loss there financially for those two events. And you know,
I mean, from the tournament, or from the owner of the tournament, from the lower ranked players, everybody gets hurt.
Here, yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody gets affected. We have to work together to make paddle be great around the world, and all the parties, they have to come together and agree to it.
The thing is, it's kind of new when it comes to organizing internationally. I mean, I think there's going to be changes made in the future. You know, there has to be more prize money. People, players, not just within the top 20, should be making a living out of this.
Yes.
I mean, that's one, but that takes, more people playing, more exposure, obviously, to get these big guys in to sponsor these players. That's one. They talked about rules too. Types of courts in different areas. I'm thinking, like, what are they thinking of? Maybe they're thinking like tennis, like, well, Wimbledon is grass, and the French have the clay, and in U.S. they have the what do you call it? Not concrete. The different materials for the flooring.
Yeah.
So are they going to talk about that? I mean, what are you talking about the rules to kind of like make it more competitive? Because if you're playing in France, right, and you're accustomed to playing in clay, there's going to be players that are really good at clay, and even the number one player is going to have a difficult time beating them.
Yeah.
And so is that what they're talking about? When it comes to the court, or some of the rules. So these are all the things that I think in the future, they're going to be talk about and maybe make some changes, which would be, I think, good for paddle. So guys, tune into us. We're going to keep you up to date on new information about this boycott.